welcome to our very first episode of Shaken and Stirred, the bartenders podcast of what it's like to actually be in our fucking industry. From the highs and the lows to the gossip and to the tea. Every week I'm going to be posting another video with another friend of mine who works in the industry, from dive bars to Michelin to Beverly Hills to West Hollywood to maybe even the Valley. So, it's just like a lot of people don't understand what it is to be a career bartender and what we do, what we go through, and what the expectations are. So that's going to change. I would like to introduce my first guest.
Hi, I'm Micha.
So, Micha, where do you work?
I work at Tom Tom in West Hollywood, which is famously one of Lisa Vanderpump's restaurants.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. We love Lisa. We love Lisa.
We do love Lisa. She's done a lot for the community. And just so you guys know, I'm a bartender and a bar lead at Negroni in Beverly Hills. So we might know a thing or two of what we're talking about. Just a little. So, Micha, tell me, what is it like being a bartender at the only straight bar in the gay district of West Hollywood?
It used to be so different when I would work at Pump, which was obviously more gay than Tom Tom. And then random people would come in and they're like, hey, is this only gay bars around here? Like, where's another straight bar we can go to? I'm like, the straightest bar you're going to find on this strip is Tom Tom. Now that I work there, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the only straight bar, but it is more of a tourist bar, a straight bar, than the other ones on the strip for sure.
I mean, we are sitting at Bottega Louie, it's pretty gay, but at the same time, it's pretty straight. It's been really interesting as someone who's lived in Los Angeles personally for 10 years to see how West Hollywood has really, really changed. And it's gone from, like a bunch of dive bars to a bunch of nightclubs. Now it's like this weird mix of Lisa Vanderpump restaurants and fine dining. And like we have like 4 sports bars now, which is, do gays even watch sports? Like, do we follow along, or do we just look at the guys in the tights with the mustaches and the baseball caps?
That's a question for you.
I think I just answered my own question. Yeah, I watch sports because guys are hot, not because I actually know what's going on.
I also love the bars that play the sports, but they don't play the sound. It's just like pop music and then sports. Yeah, the only time you're going to hear the sports game is when it's Super Bowl.
And that's when people who are actually invested, and by like investing, they bet on it, are like actually wanting to know what's happening because they want to know how much money they're winning or losing.
Exactly.
So, what is it like for you? Because like I've been to Tom Tom on nights where like y'all are balls to the wall packed, but yet you're a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
So how do you negate that? Like, how do you negate like dinner service and nightlife, and what is that like for you?
I always feel like the transition from dinner to nightlife is super easy at our bar, just because there is a little bit of a lull between like dinner and nighttime. And then also our DJ starts pretty early, like before dinner service even ends. So you already kind of have that vibe of people dancing, people there to drink and party before it even necessarily reaches that point of just drinks. As far as like having an extensive cocktail menu where you're muddling, you have like 7 ingredients in each drink. That just comes with time. I worked in Vegas before I worked in LA, so obviously I have that speed. I come from several different mixology bars. For me, it's not an issue. I think it's all about bartending too, especially like being able to multitask and take multiple orders at once. Everyone wants a pumptini. We have to talk about the pumptini. So if you see like 3 girls here and they're like, hey, can I get 3 pumptinis? And then you have 2 girls over here, they also want pumptinis. Instead of making 3 and then making 2, you're making 5 at once.
Exactly.
And that's just the name of the game.
Except for that one girl who like fucks up the order. It's like, no, I'll take an espresso martini.
I'll take an espresso martini, which I think that's something else we need to talk about because it does not bother me. I love to make espresso martinis.
Thank you. Okay, so
I feel like all
jump straight to this because I was crowned the espresso martini king in New York. I went viral for it. My espresso martini was a $75 drink. I used Clase Azul Reposado. And haters, I know you're gonna come for me. Guess what? It's sold. I've never hated making espresso martinis.
Me neither. Like, I don't get the hate with it. I mean, we have another bartender that I work with, Dan, who absolutely hates making espresso martinis. He's also a comedian. Half of his bits are about like hating espresso martinis. And I'm like, I love you, but like for me, that's one of the easiest drinks on our menu because it's 3 ingredients compared to 7. And you just have to shake it rough. which is
Yeah.
easy. And then you get that frothy top. It's perfect.
I don't understand where all these articles that I see, because like I follow Vine Pair, I follow Tales of the Cocktail, all of these different things. Like my Instagram feed is literally hot shirtless guys at the gym and cocktails. And every article that I have read is like why bartenders hate espresso martinis. And I'm like, I don't know really any bartender who does. They're crowd pleasers. They're overpriced for what they are. I
Exactly.
mean, and they're delicious. Like, who doesn't want a substitute for cocaine? Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is. You've
It's just
taken a break from cocaine, have 4 espresso martinis. Thank you for your $125 with your 20% tip.
It's a classier vodka Red Bull.
I love the meme that was viral like a few years ago that said espresso martinis are just vodka Red Bulls that studied abroad and won't shut up about it.
Oh my god, that's so spot on. That's hilarious.
It's true. I don't like, I understand, like, I work with one bartender who refuses to prep espresso because, like, Negroni is a cafe bar. We do tea service, we do coffee service. But like we fresh brew our espresso for it. So I always have like at least 3 liters brewed of espresso behind the bar, but he refuses to use the like pre-brewed espresso. And he will literally make an espresso shot for each one. And I'm like, boo boo, you are making yourself so much more work.
Was he a barista before?
No.
Okay, that doesn't.
No. He's just like a very old school bartender. Like, he's great. He brings a lot to the team. But I'm just like, dude, you're taking a drink that should take 12
Also,
seconds to make.
when the
to be a minute and a
espresso
half.
is like that hot because it's fresh, the drink is going to be completely watered down.
It's going to be completely watered down.
I do think it needs to be fresh enough. You know, you can't be using day old espresso.
Right, no.
But it, like, yeah, that definitely is doing the most. Good for him, though. I'd like to try one.
Look, we love bartenders who do the most because, like, here in LA, there's so many more bartenders who do nothing. Like, they do absolutely fucking nothing. Like, they show up to work, they don't want to clean, they don't want to prep, they don't want to batch, they don't want to be told that they have to wipe their wells at the end of the night. Because, like, LA, just for people, if you are seeing this outside of LA, I'm sorry, this podcast may not seem like it's for you. It's very LA centric. But, like, here in LA, there is no such thing as subpar minimum wage. So, like, whatever the minimum wage is, here in West Hollywood, it's $20 an hour. Beverly Hills, it's $17. The Valley, it's $16.50. There is no subpar. We don't make less because we're tipped employees. So you have people who come up. So a lot of restaurants don't want to hire barbacks because of that. And like Negroni's one of those. Like, we're a smaller restaurant. The smaller the staff, the better for labor costs and restaurant costs and us just existing. But like, they don't want to hire barbacks because like a bartender should be able to do all that work. Make sure that you're stocked up before your shift gets busy, before the hit, and then clean your well, clean your supplies, make sure everything is sanitized and put away right. A lot of bartenders don't even want to do that because...
Yeah, and I will say this, you can tell who's a good bartender based off of like whether they've bar backed before or not. Like if I was doing hiring and I saw I had 2 bartenders and one had been a bar back before they were a bartender, I would take that person 10 times over who had already bar backed. Like starting my career in Vegas, you don't really see like women bar backs. It's not a big thing. But I started at a small restaurant. So I was my own bar back. I also had to do inventory as a bartender, and I was doing mats. I was doing all this stuff, and it really teaches you like how to be a good bartender. It also it teaches you how to be a good teammate. Like, yeah. I mean, you need good barbacks, and like they're your heart and soul. My least favorite thing is a bartender who hates on barbacks. Like, I have a couple that I work with where the barbacks can never do anything right, and I'm like, okay, but they work twice as hard sometimes.
They work their ass off for 20% of your tips.
Right.
Like, it's not like we make a good amount of money as bartenders off the tip out from servers. Because, like, liquor, like, makes or break a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but barbacks work their ass off because, and they are just not taken care of properly.
No.
You know, they get shit on, they get hated on, they get yelled at. And then they're making a fraction of what you're making as a bartender. Like, we love our barbacks. We support you. We see you. Yeah, lots of love.
Lots of love.
I was like, what is that Gen Z symbol that you just did? I'm like, no, this is a heart.
I do both. I do both. When I'm trying to be like hip, this is the one I do. But yeah, that's our love note to barbacks.
But I see these bartenders who come in and they just don't want to clean, and it's basic things like making sure there's no water in your behind your bar. I'm like, it attracts flies, it attracts mold down the road, and it's like, yo, like you gotta fucking clean the shit.
The worst is when you go to open and you pull a bottle out of the fridge and it hasn't been wiped down.
And it's sticky.
It's sticky.
Oh,
and then you're starting a shit like I'm like sitting there like doing the work from people the night before.
Always.
But that's not something we needed to get on this
episode.
Closing
not
for
on
the
this
opening
episode.
show.
Not on this episode. But it's so like, tell me, like, since you have experience in Vegas, it's one of the few. It's, you know, I've worked in New Orleans, I've worked in New York, I've worked here in LA. Mm-hmm. Vegas is a beast that I have never dabbled in because I don't like hot. I think 78 degrees is hot. And I'm sorry, I'm a boy from Louisiana. Like, I just don't want to deal with heat ever again. So what was Vegas like?
Well, I grew up there, so it was like different because it was always home to me. And then obviously there's this thing, the industry, and everyone goes when you're 21, you basically go to pool auditions, and that's how you get any job. And you go audition in a bikini, they ask you like maybe 2 questions. It's so demeaning. You wait in line for 7 hours, and then like you almost never get a job until eventually you do.
It sounds like LA with all of our actors here.
Right. I'm used to rejection. Model, actress, bartender, basically just being rejected all the time. But so eventually, like, I got a bartending job. I took a union pour class. Usually, like, the union will pay for that. If you're not at a union house, you have to pay for it yourself. You have to prove you're working at a bar, and you have to pay like $600. But this was like 10 years ago, so it might be more now. So I did that, and then after that, I went to one of those auditions, and there was a bar that was going union, so I think that's why I got hired. And then from there, that's how you meet everybody. You make all these connections. I actually was like offered a job at Omnia before I was moving to LA, but I was like, if I take this job at Omnia, I will never leave. And I knew I wanted to get out of Vegas at some point, so I turned it down to move here and make way less money. But I mean, Vegas is also very, very corporate. Like, you work for big corporations. It has its ups and its downs. Like, one thing I did love was that we had a point system, you know? So, like, you're late, you get half a point. You call out, you get 1 point. If it's, like, a blackout day, you get 2 points. But the thing is, like, if I just didn't want to go to work that day, I call a hotline, and then I give them my employee number, not come in, and I don't have to talk to a manager. I don't have to talk to staff. I don't have to talk to anybody. Like, you just call out. You know what I mean? And I was never late because I wanted to save all my points. You get, like, it was crazy too. You get like 12 in a calendar year. Where like if you're a good employee, you're never going to use all of those.
New Orleans, because like, so I left New Orleans in 2015. I moved back for like 5 months, and I think 23. Terrible decision. But the thing that was really interesting, because New Orleans has that same system.
Oh, really?
And it used to not to. And it's really funny because Caesars has such a hand in New Orleans now. It's the Caesars Superdome. Caesars is like the big casino down there now. When they bought Harrods, they took over the casino in the French Quarter. And to see that that's another influence from Vegas on New Orleans now really makes sense. Because I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, I'm a bartender down here. Like, my first bar was on Bourbon Street. And I'm like 22 and I'm bartending on Bourbon Street at one of the gay bars down there. We had to have manager's cards. Like, we got fucked up on our shifts. We got blasted.
That's
like,
one thing in Vegas. You can never, like, you're not allowed to drink on the clock. Like, it's very, like, you will get fired. Like,
honestly, I wish that was the rule.
But that's new Vegas. Because I was trained by a bartender who she worked in like old Vegas, and they were like, she told me she slept in an ice well one time, like during the shift. And so it was like very different. And it was also like, she said it was very cutthroat. Like, your managers, everyone was screaming at you, yelling at you, like being mean. Like, it's very like HR appropriate now. But also I will say that people in Vegas are mean.
Well, yeah,
they're
it's so hot and there's nothing to do.
Like, it's just like, they're like vicious because it's like, it's really like, it's such an intense industry, and like, it can be very catty at times, especially.
Well, there's so much money to be made too.
Right. And so like, people will do anything if they want you like gone. Like they'll try to get you fired. Like it's happened to me before.
New York was the same way too, and I will say I'm the villain in this story. I'm a villain in a lot of stories, but New York, there's so many bartenders, and there's so much money to be made. I think the new statistic was like there's 10,000 bars in Manhattan alone, and Manhattan is 6 miles by 2 miles. It's not big, so 10,000 establishments, and everyone wants to be a bartender there. I will say, like, there was like two people at an establishment that I worked at in New York City, and I got those bitches fired because I wanted their shifts. Now, granted, they were also drinking the expensive mezcal off the shelf while cleaning the bar, and they drank like half a bottle, so it was pretty easy to get rid of them. I didn't have to do anything but report, hey, this guy like drank an entire bottle of Eagle Rare, and then this guy is like taking shots of like the $100 mezcal that we have on the shelf. Easy breezy.
Easy breezy. But I will say, for Vegas, the first bar I worked at was a restaurant. It was not corporate at all. It was very chill. And we used to, like, if a new person came in, all of my leads were friends, like, my managers were all friends. If a new person came in and we did not vibe with that person in the first day and a half, 2 days, bye. Like, I'm sorry, watch right. Like, because it's very much like you have to play the game in the way. When you're working in this industry, like, you have to be friends with your coworkers.
Yes.
Like, you have to make people like you. Like, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, not only like guests, you want them to like you because you're in customer service, but you want your coworkers to like you, or your life is going to be miserable. Like when everyone is going out after work and like you're not invited, or like they're standing in like the service while chatting and you're just like off in the corner by yourself. Like you never want to be that person, because like people will find a way to like just kind of get you gone if they do not like you.
Well,
I'm not saying that's every bar, but like I've definitely had those experiences where like I didn't want to hang out with the girls I was working with, and then like after I turned down like 2 hangouts, that's suddenly when like no one was talking to me. When this is when I was like a food runner, when we're like in the kitchen, suddenly no one's talking to me. They're all standing in a circle, and I'm like over by myself, just like waiting to run food. Like it was just like
it's
miserable.
brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. So like, let's talk about an aspect of that I don't think a lot of people know is, as a bartender, we have to be on all the time. Like our money is reliant upon us being upbeat, positive, talking to everyone. And yet most bartenders that I know, when the music is cut and the last guest leaves, we're such introverted people for the most part. Like, and it's that moment of like, what you see as a guest at an establishment, it is theater. Like, and it dives down into like different personality types. You've got the hardcore bartender, you have the one who says fuck every other word no matter where they're working. But like at the end of the day, like it's all an act.
I definitely agree. I think that also like depends how much you have to act based off of where you work. Like I have worked every type of job from in every position in every restaurant, and like I will say like I will never work fine dining again, although it's such a great place to make money and the hours are amazing because you start at like 5 p.m. and end at 10 p.m. You like have somewhat of a life, but you have to be, I don't want this to be so nice to people. And my thing is like I want to work in a place where I'm allowed to give a little bit of sass back if someone is not acting right. Like I used to work so many places where I had to just like take it if I was being shit on like over and over and over, because like you can't talk back, it's going to become an issue.
Right.
Like now I try to only work at places where I'm allowed to maybe snap back if someone's not acting right, or if someone's acting too drunk, or being just all around like stupid and inappropriate. Also like love working at a place where you have like security at the door, because if there is an issue and you just can be like, this guy's got to go, you know? Not to say I'm like a bitch or anything, but I definitely have my moments.
Yeah, and I think we all do. And I will say, like, that's the one thing I miss about working in, like, West Hollywood or in nightlife is having the security there to where I can be like, yo, like, this dude's a mess, get him the fuck out. Because, like, I don't want to deal with it. And when someone is at your bar and at your station, or even in your visibility, you're the bartender's responsibility. Like, I am responsible for you and your behavior when you're at my establishment. Because if, like, working in Beverly Hills, the number one question that I always get from guys is, where the girls at? And I'm like, well, you scared them off because you made them feel uncomfortable. And I'm going in between the three girls having a girls' night and the two guys who are buying my most expensive tequila. And I know that you tip 50%, but like, you only come in once a month, whereas this is their first time here and I want them to come back. I'm like, it's so hard, but yet I'm responsible for the experience of my girly pop girls who want to have a good night and sushi and great cocktails, and my guys who want to pick up and they spend money in order to be in the establishment, but then they get pushy and it's like, dude, you gotta go.
You almost
And yet
have to,
I'm then the bad guy because I don't have security who's gonna come in and be like, yo, you're getting too aggressive with our girls, please close your tab and leave.
right. It's very much like you also have to be a vibe reader and figure out like, are these people uncomfortable with the way the person next to them is acting? Because there's been so many times where like I'll see a guy trying to pick up on a girl at a bar and like he'll turn his head and I'm like, good, like what is happening? Trying to catch a vibe. Like, do you want me to get this man away from you?
Right.
And sometimes they'll be like, no, it's fine. And other times they'll be like, yeah, they gotta go. Or like I've even had experience where like a girl was like obviously too drunk. This guy's been trying to pick up on her all night, and then I'm like, hey girl, you good? Like, let me get you a ride. Like, let me call you an Uber on your phone. And the guy's like, no, I'm gonna take her. And I'm like, do you want to go with this guy? And she's saying no. And then I'm like, no, like I'm gonna call her an Uber. And then arguing with this guy, and then he starts getting mad at me for accusing him of doing something. And I'm like, well, that's the vibe you're giving off. So
Right.
yes, I'm gonna make sure that this girl goes home alone, and I'm not even gonna care that you think that I'm calling you out about something, because if you weren't doing it, then you wouldn't be upset that I was calling you out.
And see, that's the thing that I love about like actually working in gay bars, which I'll do from time to time. It's very, very, it's hard work working in a gay bar, but at the same time, I never have to worry about like the safety of my dudes. Because like if they're going home with a random stranger, let's be honest, that's just standard gay culture. Like as a gay man, like I will walk into some dude's apartment who's saying, I don't know, I've never met them before, and we're gonna bang and I'm gonna leave. Like I don't have to worry about my dudes like being assaulted or anything, but working in a restaurant in a heavily straight part of LA, like that is something that I have to refocus from my culture to straight culture, which is very, very different. And like I have to then like protect my girls, make sure they're good, make sure they get their drinks paid for from these guys, but like also make sure like they're not going to be followed to their car, that they're not going to make a bad decision that they're going to regret in the morning, because at the end of the day in LA that can fall back on me legally. The laws here in LA around drinking are, the establishment is responsible if something happens. And if the establishment doesn't want to deal with it, they'll put it off on the bartender who is working that night from like over serving or not protecting the guest. Like it's a lot that we have to handle. We're not just making drinks, we're vibe creators, we're party enhancers, because if our energy sucks, the party's gonna suck.
Right.
But then like we're security and we're the gatekeepers of like the people in our establishment and our regulars to ensure that they have a fun time but that they're safe.
Right. I think that also circles into like the idea of like cutting someone off. Like since I've been bartending for 10 years now, or 9, I don't know, something around there. I've gotten so much better at cutting people off. Like I used to be scared to do it. Now I'm like, no, you're done. Like the only thing is like sometimes people make it hard because they come up on their best behavior. They order one drink. The second they get that drink, it switches, and you're like, if I knew you were gonna act like this.
Yeah.
And then the next one, I'm like, no way, like you're done. And then I think back to all the times that I've been in a bar and been overserved, and I'm like, I started blaming the bartenders if I get too drunk now. I'm like, this was their job to make sure I didn't get too drunk. I'm like, I cut people off. Why can't people cut me off? But it's really my own fault.
It's tough too, because especially when it comes to cutting off, it's like I know for like me in particular, like the guests that I struggle the most with are the ones who like are my regulars. They're the ones, like my regulars love to drink and I love to serve them, but when they start hitting that line, now granted being at Negroni for over a year now, like they know like when I give them the look, they're done. Their drinks are going to start coming out much slower. I'm going to pay attention to other people first, you know, and they've started to pick up on the signs, but these are people who have been drinking with me for like a year now.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes to new people, because there's so many restaurants in such a small space, the Golden Triangle of Beverly Hills is very much like West Hollywood. Like, you're looking out and behind us, there's 3 different bars. There's 2 bars down here. There's 3 bars here. You know, Beverly Hills is very much the same way. So when new people come in and they've had a drink at Dante, they've had a drink at Wally's, they've had a drink at Avron, they're just walking around. I don't know how many drinks they've had when they're first sitting down, and then they have that drink with me, and I'm like, fuck, these people, they were already on the line of being drunk.
Yeah.
And now, like, because I didn't know, I've never met them, and now it's like one drink, I'm like, that's all, guys. Go next door, because like, or go to a dive bar, because like, I don't want to deal with you, and I can't deal with you. Like, we are a fun, lively DJ kind of environment. Like, Negroni's like the black sheep of Beverly Hills, but at the same time, like, we're still in Beverly Hills, and I can't have literal locker room talk about like girls that you've banged being said at the top of your lungs.
Oh, see, but that's so opposite in WeHo, because it's like, I'm like at the bar, like, what are you saying? Like, my favorite thing is like, if I start hearing something juicy, like, I'm walking over there and I'm like, you guys good? I'm just gonna hang out here for a minute. Like, I love to hear what people have to say.
Like,
I'm like the biggest eavesdropper, but I have horrible hearing from years in the bar and not wearing earplugs, so like I like have to really get in there, and then I just start making myself a part of the conversation at that point.
Which is so funny, because like my hearing sucks, right? But like when I'm behind the bar, I could be on one other side of the bar and I could hear something from like the corner, like 10 seats away. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. I'm like, how the hell did I pick up on that when I can't hear what my servers are telling me in the service well? But like in West Hollywood, like the tea is so different, because it's like, I fucked this dude in the gym locker room, or I met up with this guy, and it's like juicy, gross stuff, but it's so different, like in Beverly Hills, when it's these guys who, like, let's be honest, like at their best, they're a 5, and they're saying things like, her pussy was so good, and I'm like, yo, like, that's weird. That's cringy. Like, I think it's different when 2 guys talk about like random hookups and fucking and like all the gross stuff gay men do, but in like a straight environment, hearing straight guys talk like that, I'm like, yo, like, you can't do that.
I don't really have like straight guy friends, so this is all like news to me. I'm like, wait, what?
I have so few straight friends, and it's not even for like lack of trying. It's just like, I hang out in West Hollywood.
Right.
Like, I live in West Hollywood. I hang out in West Hollywood. Most of the guests that are going to be on this podcast are West Hollywood bartenders. It's like, my straight friends are like my regulars from Beverly Hills. And I'm like, how did we end up becoming friends? Like, this is weird. But like, we now share memes with each other on Instagram, you know?
I love that. My straight friends are ones from high school.
Like,
like, guys,
you stayed in touch with friends from high school?
Yeah,
how?
Because I grew up in Vegas, and like my family is still there, and like so my brother-in-law is like one of my best friends from high school, and so now he's my brother-in-law. So like that whole friend group, it's like very incestuous in a way. We're like, we've all known each other since we were like 15, and we're all still like best friends.
And New Orleans is the same way too, but I mean, I went so off the rails crazy. I'm like, I have like 2 friends that I talk to from like that high school time in my life, or like that elementary school part of my life. And one of those friends is like one of my favorite people in the world, and we talk like maybe once every 3 months. But I'm always so fascinated by people who still have friends from high school. I'm like,
the funny thing is, they weren't like at my high school though.
Okay.
Like, we were friends from like going out to parties in Vegas. I actually don't have any friends from my high school. The only friends I do have from my high school are my 2 best friends who are twins, but I became friends with them after we graduated, and then like we didn't know each other in high school, so it's just like we were friends, but like my best friends from high school unfriended me. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and I'm like, thank God they unfriended me, because I'm like,
yeah, I'm not mad at it
with kids, and I'm like, I lived in 3 cities in 1 year. Like, who's really winning at life here? I don't think it's you.
In LA, 30 is like what, 25? In
Pretty
other
much.
cities, like the Midwest, like if you're 25, 30, you like you have a family and kids.
Yes. Now, and like, granted, I would,
Not everybody, obviously, but like several people.
majority. It's no, granted, like, I'm single in LA. That's a whole nother topic of like, actually, let's dive into that. We have about a few more minutes.
I know. I love how this went from us bartending to us being like friendship.
Well, no, like, because this is all like so, and this is exactly like what I want this show to be, is the perspective of life from behind the bar,
Right.
like what we see, how we handle things, because I see so much online of bartending is easy, anyone can do it. I'm like, no.
We are not on the same side of the internet.
I remember this one guy in New York, like, narcissistic personality disorder, very like quintessential like trust fund baby of Manhattan, like grew up on the Upper West Side, and he always had something else that he wanted to do. And most of my time in New York when I lived there, I was only there for a year, but it still changed my life. His focal point was acting, and so like he got into an acting school finally. It took him like 4 times to get in, and he does a show. The show was awful. Like, I had friends who like went and saw it, and they were like, "This was the worst thing that I ever saw in my life." But like to his face, they're like, "Oh, yay! It was. You did that."
Yeah.
And then like he turned his focal point to, "I want to be a bartender," and I'm like, "I don't think you're gonna survive it."
Like you're not cut out for
And he
this.
got so angry. He's like, "I can pour drinks." Like, and he picked up a water glass and like poured it into another glass. He's like, "See, it's easy." And I'm like, people don't understand all of the things that we're doing. Like, we're not just making 7 drinks at once. I'm having to pay attention to 14 people at the bar. I'm having to pay attention to my servers. And by the way, servers don't know how to ring fucking drinks. Like,
my favorite. Okay, this
Tell
is
me.
so disgusting. But a server came up and they're like, "Someone wants a Bloody Caesar. Do we make that?" And I'm like, "No, we don't have Clamato." And so he's like, "No, she wants Caesar dressing in it." And I'm like, "No, she doesn't, babe. Like, there's no way this girl wants Caesar dressing in her Bloody Mary. Like, that's not a thing." He's like, "Can you just make it, please? Like, she really wants this." So against my will, I say, "Tell her when you give her this drink, tell her that I said I didn't want to make it, that I know this isn't what she wants. Like, you're not putting this on me. I'll make it for you because you're begging." And it was this color of like light pink sludge that was the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. He takes it to the table and fully brings it back, and he's like, "Yeah, she was like, I don't know what this is."
And
But
that's
it's not
like,
what I, and I'm
still
like,
get charged on your bill for a drink that you didn't like.
I'm just like, babe, no. Like, I should have never let him make, like, let him let me make it.
Yeah, so we have this one drink on our menu, and it's absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite drinks. It's called the Martini Hills. It's a citrus and saline martini. And then it's garnished with 3 olives, so it gets a little bit of like that salt enhancement and a touch of brine, which adds so much complexity to this gin martini. But because there's olives on it, people are like, "Oh, can I get it dirty?" The amount of times I've gone to a server and said, "This is disgusting with olive juice in it."
Saline
Please?
is salt water.
Right. So it's salt water, olive brine, and orange bitters. I'm like, do you really want orange and olive together? Like, it's bad.
It just also doesn't need to be any saltier.
Well,
That's what I'm not getting.
And I've gone to the table and I'm like, "Look, like, I just want to make sure that this is what you want. Like, I know this is it a personal preference? Like, have you done this before?" And they're like, "No, I just really like the idea of the drink." And I've gone and told the server, they're not going to like it. They're going to try to return it. You are not comping this off their bill. Because, like, I've gone to them. I've warned them not to do this. I've warned you against this. And every time, it's happened like 4 times. And it's been returned. And I'm like, they're still paying for that. And I've gone to the manager. I've explained it to them. And I'm like, we're not comping this drink off. Because I warned them against it. I warned the server against it. And I told them, I know what I'm doing as a bartender. this is going to be a bad drink. And they still pay it. Because it's like, if you're going to order a bad drink and you're not going to like it, and the server warns you and the bartender warns you, we'll make it for you. You don't like it, you're not getting it off your bill.
I hate when people try to switch up a drink completely. I will kind of be like, no, at that point. But I don't know, I'm too nice. I'm like, you don't like it? I'll remake it, whatever you want. Like, just let me, like, I would rather avoid conflict and just, like, remake the drink in, like, 20 seconds than, like, have to deal with, like, talking to someone longer than I have to.
I remember.
But I'm, like, so, like, I don't know. Everyone says I'm kind of, like, a bitch, but like I just don't say
you are.
Like,
this is why we're friends.
I don't really like
being a bitch in
that
person
much.
And being a bitch to a guest is very different.
Very different. I just like I'm not bitchy to guests. I don't say more than I have to. If they want to have a conversation, I'll have a conversation, but I'll never be the one to initiate.
I remember this one guy came in. We had this variation on our menu called a Latin Mule, and it's a ginger cordial, which is like a ginger simple syrup, passion fruit simple syrup. And it's vodka based. So this is like naturally a very sweet drink.
Yeah.
Like it's sugary. And this one guy comes to me one night, like he comes in, he's wearing a suit, he's got a rented SUV, he's got a driver, shades are on the entire time, they're Dolce & Gabbana. And he looks at me, he's like, is the Latin Mule sweet? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't like sweet drinks. And I'm like, okay, so let me recommend this one to you. It's like the end of the night. I've been here like 4 months. I'm tired. And he's like, well, let me get it with reposado, not vodka. I'm like, that's going to make the drink even sweeter. You're not going to like this drink. He's like, just do it. I'm like, okay, which one do you want? He picks Don Julio reposado, which is the sweetest, sugar-infused, if you can even call it tequila. And I make the drink for him, and he takes one sip of it, and he's like, the look on his face is so sour. He's like, this is so sweet. And his date looks at him, and she's like, he told you that, Bill. Motherfucker got slapped with that bill. And she was like, she literally said, we deserved that. And I was like, thank you.
We love us.
You understand. He didn't tip.
It's okay. My favorite thing was when a girl came in, a white girl with full braids. And I think she might have been paid to be with the man she was with in Vegas, but she was like, ordered a dirty martini. So I make her a dirty martini. She brings it back to the bar. She's like, what the fuck is this? What did you put in this? And I'm like, vodka and olive juice. And she's like, that's it? And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. Normally people don't really like vermouth in their dirty martinis. I can put some vermouth in it if you want. And she's like, no, what the is this? And slams the drink back towards me.
No.
And at this point, like the guy she's with is mortified. Like, and I'm like, you should be mortified for even being seen with this woman to begin with.
Seriously.
And then at this point, like this is the one time I will say, like my manager stepped in, and like this is one of those bars where you kind of have to like, okay. Like, but my manager stepped in, and she said, "You are not speaking to one of my bartenders like that. Like you can leave immediately." And I was like,
and that's a good manager.
Yeah, that's like, a good manager.
My GM right now is also very much like that. Like we had one guest who like just popped off. Everything was wrong. She was super awful to the server. And then she like put her hands on my GM, which big mistake. This girl is, my GM is from the Bronx, like born and raised in the Bronx. Like you do not put your hands on this woman. And she took her and literally dragged her out of the restaurant. And my GM is like shorter than me. I'm 5'6". She's like 5'4". And this woman was like probably 250 pounds and like 5'8". And my GM took her and like dragged her out of the restaurant and was like, here's your bill. You were paying for this. Good day. She's like, I'm never coming back here. And she's like, that was the point.
Good.
We don't want you here. Because at the end of the day, if you're a terrible guest, we don't want you.
I love when they hit you with the "we're never coming back here," or when someone does something very unspeakable or just is a huge asshole, and they literally are like, "What's your name? I'm gonna write a review." I hand them the receipt and I say, "It's on the receipt. Don't spell it wrong," because I know that they're like, nothing's gonna happen to me because you weren't acting right. Yeah. Like, obviously, I'm gonna go tell my manager. I have to tell them what happened in case I do get a review, but I feel justified, you know.
So speaking of reviews, so So I've opened 3 restaurants now. Like the main majority of my resume at this point is opening restaurants. And reviews are so important to us because like it gets our name out there, it puts us higher on the list of Yelp, it puts us higher on the Google search. Is that the same case here in West Hollywood? Like, do y'all rely on reviews to get people in? Or because you're a tourist destination, like you don't even have to give a fuck about that here?
I mean, definitely. I don't know as far as like that business side aspect of it goes because I'm not involved in that. But if we do get a bad review, like we're being talked to about it.
Really?
Yeah, like and then like because like the hostesses like are always reading the open table reviews for like fun, and then the second one person gets a bad review, we're trying to figure out who it was, and then we're like, if my manager knows who it is, like he's definitely speaking to someone about it. But like I don't think anyone's faced real like repercussions for like a bad review. I think it's just kind of like, hey, like this is a repeat behavior, you need to fix it. Yeah, but it is kind of disheartening. Like I don't think we have the best reviews.
I'm gonna go and read your review page now.
And so like I'm like everyone who works here should go leave like a good review.
I will say, so I pride myself on only ever having one bad review. And I was the service well bartender at Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse in Century City.
I love Del Frisco.
It used to be so much better than what it was.
I've only been to the Vegas one, but my sister used to work there.
So the one in Century City, my one bad review. Granted, this was 2021. It was right after COVID. There was a shortage of people in the industry. No one wanted to work. No one, like, I hadn't bartended in like 5 years, and I got a job at a steakhouse bartending. And my one bad review was the poor bartender in the service well. He is literal slave labor for this company. And I looked back at that because I had a bet with one of my friends. And I was like, I've never gotten a bad review. He's like, prove it. So
but how is that a bad review for you?
Because they called me slave labor.
I know, but that's saying like the company is doing that to you. I don't even think that's a bad review. I think you're still in the clear.
I still feel like slave labor.
I mean, when you're on like an open close or like when you're working Pride for 3 days. But I mean, it's always worth it. So.
It is worth it. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and being my first guest. This was absolutely amazing. Yeah. So guys, tune in. I'm going to be doing more of these. The goal is to upload about 1 a week. So that way you can have a better understanding of what it's like to be a career bartender, what we go through, the things that we have to handle from different perspectives of different bartenders in different worlds, from dive bars to nightclubs to Michelin to management to the DJs. Like, we're all just going to be kind of telling you like what our life is and hoping that you appreciate the people who keep the party going for you a little bit more than we get here in Los Angeles. I look forward to doing more of this for you, and we'll see you next time on Shaken and Stirred.
Bye, guys. Thank you.